Have you ever found yourself staring at your phone, waiting for a call or even just a simple text that never comes? You start questioning everything. Did I misread the situation? Did I say something wrong? And then the worst thought of all creeps in. If he really wanted me, wouldn't he call? Let's be real. When someone is truly interested, they don't hesitate to show it. They don't leave you hanging, wondering, analyzing every interaction like it's some unsolvable mystery. But when a man pulls back, when he stops calling, when he becomes distant, the first thing we do is look inward. What did I do? But the truth is, this silence, this hesitation is not about you, it's about him. See, men are not as complicated as we sometimes believe. When they want something, when they truly value something, they go after it. No confusion, no second guessing, no mixed signals. So if a man is hesitating, if he's inconsistent, if he's making you feel like you're always waiting, that tells you something. It tells you that there's a disconnect between what he says he wants and what he's actually ready for. Because let's be honest, effort is a choice. And a man who truly values you will make that choice every single time. But let's break this down. Sometimes a man may be interested but hesitant. Maybe he's dealing with personal struggles. Maybe he's not ready for the level of commitment he senses you're looking for. Or maybe, just maybe, he enjoys the attention, the comfort, the idea of you without the responsibility that comes with truly pursuing you. And that right there, that's what you need to recognize. A man who truly wants to be with you will not leave you in a position where you have to guess his intentions. Now, I know what some of you are thinking, but he used to call all the time. He used to check in, send good morning texts, make plans. So what changed? Well, people don't just wake up one day and forget how to care. What changed is his level of investment. Maybe he was excited at first, maybe it felt new and thrilling, but now that reality has set in, he's showing you where he truly stands. And instead of asking yourself, how do I get him to call again? Ask yourself, why am I waiting for someone who isn't showing up for me? See, the way a man behaves when things are easy and exciting isn't the real test. It's what he does when things settle, when consistency is required, when effort becomes a daily practice. That's what matters. A man who is serious about you won't need to be reminded to call, to check in, to make time for you. It will be natural, automatic, because when you truly value something, you don't risk losing it. So let's stop making excuses for inconsistent behavior. Let's stop rationalizing silence as maybe he's just busy or maybe he's stressed. We're all busy. We all have stress. But when something or someone truly matters, we make the time. And if he's not, then that silence is speaking louder than any words ever could. You ever notice how words can be the easiest thing to give, but the hardest thing to trust? A man can say all the right things. I miss you. I've never met anyone like you. I see a future with you. But if his actions don't match those words, what do you really have? See, real love, real commitment, real interest, those things are seen, not just heard. They show up in the way he prioritizes you, in the way he makes time for you, in the way he shows up for you when it actually matters. And a man who truly cares won't leave you questioning his intentions. He won't make you wonder whether he's serious. You won't have to dissect his messages, analyze his tone, or try to decode what he really meant, because when a man is intentional about you, it's clear. It's in the way he makes consistent effort, not just in moments of convenience, not just when he's in the mood, but every day, in ways both big and small. Now, let's talk about inconsistency. Some of you are dealing with men who show up when it benefits them, then disappear when it doesn't. They know exactly what to say to pull you back in when they feel you slipping away. They know how to make you second guess your instincts, how to throw just enough crumbs to keep you hopeful. But let me tell you something. Hope without evidence is a dangerous thing. If his words are painting a future, but his actions are showing you a reality that doesn't align, which one do you believe? Think about it. If a man tells you he wants to see you but never makes concrete plans, what does that tell you? If he says he cares but only reaches out when it's convenient for him, what does that tell you? If he tells you he's serious about you but keeps you in a cycle of uncertainty, what does that tell you? It tells you that his words are easy, but his actions reveal the truth. And the truth is, a man who truly values you will not put you in a position where you have to wonder how he feels about you. Now, here's where it gets tough. Because when you care about someone, when you see their potential, you want to believe the best in them. You want to believe that maybe this time will be different, that maybe he just needs a little patience, that maybe if you give a little more, he'll finally step up. But let me ask you something. How much longer are you willing to wait for someone to prove what they should have already been showing? How many times are you going to ignore the signs in front of you just because the words sound so good? A man's actions will always tell you where he stands. His consistency or lack of it will always reveal the truth. And if you ever find yourself in a position where you feel like you're begging for the bare minimum, it's time to step back and ask yourself, is this really love? Or am I just holding on to a version of someone that only exists in my mind? Because at the end of the day, a man who truly wants you will show up completely and without hesitation. You ever wonder why a man who seems interested 1 minute can suddenly go silent the next? Why he can text you all day, make plans, talk about the future, and then, just like that, he pulls away? It's confusing, right? Leaves you wondering what went wrong, what changed, what you did to cause the shift. But let's talk about the truth behind it, because this right here, this inconsistency, this back and forth, it's not about you. It's about him. See, a man's actions are always a reflection of where he is mentally and emotionally. And sometimes when he starts pulling away, when the calls slow down, when the effort fades, it's not because he doesn't like you. It's because he doesn't know what to do with you. There are men out there who will pursue you because they're intrigued by you. They like the way you make them feel. They enjoy your energy. They're drawn to something about you that they might not even fully understand. But when it comes time to step up, to be consistent, to be accountable, to actually build something, that's when reality hits. Because interest alone doesn't create commitment. Wanting someone isn't the same as being ready for them. And here's the part most people don't want to admit. Sometimes a man knows deep down that he's not capable of being who you need him to be. He knows he can't give you what you deserve, or he's afraid of failing if he tries. And instead of saying that, instead of being honest, he pulls away. He goes quiet. Not because he doesn't care, but because he doesn't know how to handle the weight of your expectations. Now, I'm not making excuses for anyone. Because at the end of the day, a grown man should be able to communicate. He should be able to say, I'm not ready, or I don't want the same things you do. But instead, some will disappear, hoping you'll just figure it out on your own. Or they'll give you just enough attention to keep you from fully walking away, because even if they know they can't commit to you, they also don't want to lose you. And that's where you have to be honest with yourself. Because when a man pulls away, it's not your job to chase him. It's not your job to prove your worth, to convince him that you're the right choice. If he doesn't see it on his own, if he isn't stepping up on his own, then what are you really fighting for? A man who is truly ready for you will not need to be convinced. He will not leave you questioning his intentions, his feelings, his ability to show up. He won't play the game of disappearing and reappearing when it suits him. Because when a man is ready, he moves differently. But here's the thing. Some men don't even realize they're not ready. They're not intentionally trying to hurt you. They're not plotting ways to string you along. They might genuinely believe they want you, but when it comes time to take real action, to be consistent, to meet you at the level you deserve, that's when the hesitation creeps in. Maybe he's afraid of commitment because he's never seen a healthy one. Maybe he's dealing with past trauma, trust issues, or personal insecurities that make him question his ability to be the man you need. Or maybe, and this is the hardest truth to accept, maybe he's just not as invested as he made you believe. And that's where your power comes in. Because you don't have to sit around trying to decipher his silence. You don't have to keep accepting breadcrumbs, hoping they'll turn into something more. If a man is inconsistent, if his actions don't align with his words, if he pulls away and expects you to be the one to fix it, you have every right to let him go. Because the right man, the man who is truly ready, will not make you feel like love is a guessing game. He will not make you question where you stand. And he sure won't disappear when things start getting real. So if he's pulling away, if he's going silent, let him. His absence is giving you the answer you've been looking for. Let me ask you something. Are you chasing or are you attracting? Because there's a big difference between the two. See, when you chase something, you're in pursuit. You're constantly reaching, running, working to convince someone of your worth. But when you attract, you stand firm. You become the kind of person who naturally draws in what aligns with you. Too many people are out here chasing validation, chasing love, chasing a man who refuses to meet them halfway. And when that happens, what you're really doing is giving your power away. You're saying, I need you to see my worth in order for me to believe in it. But that's not how this works. Because the moment you start chasing, the moment you start proving, you've already lost the most important thing you have, your self-respect. Now, don't get me wrong. There's nothing wrong with showing interest in someone. There's nothing wrong with wanting love, with wanting to build something real. But the second you find yourself doing all the work, the second you're the one always initiating, always adjusting, always trying to be more of what he wants and less of what you are, that's when you need to stop and ask yourself, what am I really fighting for? See, when a man is genuinely interested in you, you won't have to chase him. You won't have to send that text just to remind him you exist. You won't have to sit around wondering if he'll ever make a real effort. Because a man who truly values you will want to be in your presence. He will prioritize you. He will show up, not just with words, but with actions. So if you find yourself in a position where you're overextending, where you're bending and compromising just to make something work, take a step back. Because real love, healthy love, doesn't require you to lose yourself in the process. It doesn't require you to shrink, to accept less than what you deserve, to settle for moments of affection instead of consistent devotion. And I get it. Sometimes we convince ourselves that if we just try a little harder, if we just give a little more, maybe he'll see what he has. Maybe he'll finally wake up and appreciate you the way you deserve. But the truth is, a man who is ready, a man who truly sees your value, doesn't need to be convinced. He doesn't need to be persuaded. Because love, real love, isn't something you have to beg for. And that's the shift you have to make. Instead of chasing, become the kind of person who attracts the love you deserve. That means standing in your worth. That means refusing to accept inconsistency. That means understanding that your value does not decrease just because someone else fails to recognize it. You want to know the real difference between chasing and attracting? Chasing comes from a place of fear. Fear of losing, fear of being alone, fear that if you don't hold on to whatever attention you're getting, you won't find anything better. But attracting comes from a place of knowing who you are, knowing what you bring to the table, knowing that the right person, the one meant for you, will never need to be convinced to stay. And when you move with that energy, everything shifts. The men who play games, they stop looking appealing. The ones who only reach out when it's convenient for them, you stop entertaining them. The relationships that make you feel like you're trying instead of being, you let them go. Because the right man, the one who truly sees you, values you, and respects you, will never make you feel like love is something you have to chase. He will meet you where you are. He will recognize your worth without you having to prove it. And when that happens, you'll realize that the love you've been chasing was never worth the energy to begin with. You ever find yourself stuck in a situation where you're constantly questioning whether you should stay or walk away? Where one day he makes you feel like you're everything, and the next you're left wondering if he even cares. It's a cycle, a push and pull, a pattern that keeps you hoping, keeps you waiting, keeps you second guessing yourself. And the hardest part? The hope. That little voice that says, maybe this time will be different. But hope without action, without consistency, without proof, can keep you stuck in something that's never really been yours to hold on to. See, there's a difference between patience and wasting time. Patience is waiting for something that is actively growing, something that is being nurtured, something that is building. Wasting time is waiting for something that has already shown you through actions, through silence, through inconsistency, that it isn't going anywhere. And yet so many people hold on, not because they don't see the red flags, not because they don't feel the imbalance, but because they don't want to let go of the potential of what it could be. Potential is tricky. It'll make you stay in situations that no longer serve you. It'll make you justify someone's lack of effort because you remember the one time they showed up. It'll make you hold on to a version of them that only exists in your mind. But let's be real. Love isn't built on potential. It's built on what someone is showing you right now. It's built on consistency, on effort, on someone choosing you. Not just when it's easy, not just when they're in the mood, but every single day. So what are the red flags? What are the signs that tell you this isn't working and it won't? If he disappears for days, if he only calls when he needs something, if he makes you feel like you have to earn his attention, that's a sign.